The main thing that most people will do in Microsoft Teams is engage in a conversation with other team members. So let's see how that works. So I want to make sure I'm on the Teams category where I can see a list of my teams and the channels contained within those teams. If you do not see your individual channels, just click on the triangle next to your team to open it up to see all of your channels. And I want to click on the General channel here in this team. Since our last movie, I've taken the time to fill out some conversations here in this channel. We see a few conversations consisting of several messages, some with threaded replies. This is pretty standard. So let's switch over to another channel and start a new conversation to see what it takes to start building this out. So I'm going to go to that homepage redesign channel that we built, and this channel is currently empty. Let's get started here. To start a conversation is probably pretty obvious. I can go to this text field down at the bottom, click on that, and type in my message. So I can type in my message and then hit the enter key or hit this little send button below the text field. And now I've posted my first message in this channel. And that's pretty standard. That message is now visible for all members of this team. When they sign into Microsoft Teams, they go to this channel within this team, they'll see this conversation. And any member of this team can write a message in this channel. So for example, in a moment, one of my other team members will post a message. And now I can see that appear here in the channel as well. Now these are two different conversations. I see that I posted something about the font that we're using, and then in a completely different conversation, Bobby posted something about accessing the network storage. So if I have something to contribute to this conversation on network storage, I'm not going to go to the text field at the bottom of the screen and post a normal message. Instead, I need to reply to this original message. So to do that, I'll hit this reply button underneath that message. Then I get a new text box and I can type in my response. I can type that in, press enter, or hit the send button, and it sends that reply. And of course, Bobby can hit the reply button underneath that message and reply to that. And it will look like that. So now we have a conversation thread going. All of the replies are linked together, so we know that they're all relevant to the same topic. Okay, so we have some normal messages and we have threaded replies. The next thing I want to look at is an @mention. This is something that you can add to a message that specifically refers to a member of your team and sends them an alert. It's a great way of ensuring that somebody sees a message that's important to them. So I'm going to reply again to this thread, but I'm going to start with the @mention. So I'm going to hit the @ symbol, and then I can start typing, or I can choose the name of somebody else who is a member of this team. So now I have Leah's name and it's colored purple, and I can continue writing my message. When I'm finished typing, I hit return and it sends that message. Now Leah will be alerted to know that that message has been targeted directly to her. Let's see what it looks like when somebody else @mentions you. In a moment, I'll have one of my coworkers @mention me. But to see everything, just for the moment, I'm going to select a different channel and just sit here. So when I receive an @mention targeted towards me, this is what I'll see. There's a notification that pops up in the bottom right corner. And because I'm not already in the relevant channel, I can see a little flag, this number 1, telling me I have one new thing to draw my attention. I also see something up here next to the activity button, and we'll look at that in just a moment. And on the Teams button on the sidebar, I see the @ symbol, which means I have an @mention waiting for me. So I'm going to go to this channel. I'll click on that. That little flag goes away, so I no longer have that alert. But when I look at the conversation, I can see this little @ symbol next to this message from Stuart. So he has @mentioned me, and it draws my attention specifically to that message. So you can do an @mention to a specific person, but you can also do an @mention to another team. So you could write the @ symbol and type in the name of another team. But since I only have one team, we're just going to stick with individual @mentions. Finally, I want to look at some formatting options. When you write a message, below the text field is a row of buttons. So if I click on this text field here, I can see a row of buttons just below it. Or if I reply to an existing thread, I have a new text field and I have those buttons below it there. Let's start with a new message thread. So I'm going to click on this box down here, and I want to click on this little button with the letter A. And that will expand the text box, and it gives me some more options. And I want you to notice something here. There is a field labeled Add a Subject. If I go and reply to an existing thread, and I hit this button to expand the box, there is not an option to add a subject. So the subject line is only available when you start a new conversation. So let's take advantage of that. Here in the text box at the bottom of the screen, I'm going to click on the subject field, and I'm going to write a subject for that. This is a message about color palettes. Then I'll click below that in the regular text field, and I can start typing my message. And of course, I could send this message. But before I do that, let's take advantage of some of the formatting tools that we have available in this expanded text box. So I could select a piece of text here, and I can make it bold, or I could make it italics or underlined. I could highlight it. I can change the size of the font. I also have some options for bulleted lists and numbered lists. These are pretty standard formatting options that you see in a lot of word processing applications. And if you decide you just don't want to send this message and want to delete the whole thing, you can hit the trash can over here on the right. But I do want to post this message, so I'll hit the send button. And now I've started a new conversation thread. This one has a subject line, and I've bolded some of the text in the message. All right, so the last thing I want to look at here is the activity list. So far, we've been working in the Teams section. That is the category that's selected over here on the sidebar on the left. But if I select Activity up here on the top left, I can see a summary of replies to messages that I've posted, at mentions directed at me, and any other notification information that I should be aware of. If you see a notification pop up on your screen, but then it fades away before you have the chance to address it, you can always come here to this activity section and see those previous notifications here. So it might be a good idea to take a quick look at activity every now and then just to make sure you've seen everything relevant to you. So that's the core functionality of sending messages to your teammates. Everything else in this chapter builds upon this main activity. With this, you should be able to get started with conversations in Microsoft Teams. Posting a message in a conversation on Microsoft Teams is not necessarily a final action. You have some options for editing and even deleting messages after you've posted them. So I'm here in my web development team in the homepage redesign channel where we have some existing conversations. And this is a conversation thread with more messages than is currently visible. So I'm going to click here where it says 3 replies, and I can see all of the messages here in this conversation. So if you point your mouse cursor at a message that has already been posted, you'll see a few buttons will appear over here on the far right. If I point at a message that somebody else posted, I only see 2 buttons. But if I point at a message that I posted, I see a third button. It's this button with 3 dots, and I can click on that and I get a menu. So I've got options here to edit and delete this message. So only on messages that I've sent, I can edit and delete them to fix mistakes. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to reply to this thread. So I'm going to hit the reply button here and type in a response. And then I'll hit enter to send that message. Now, after posting a message like this, I might decide that I phrased this response badly, and it might be kind of inappropriate. That's a case where I might want to delete the message or just make a change. So I'm going to point at that message. I see those buttons appear here on the right. I'll click on this button to open up the menu, and I'll hit edit. And then I can make a change to this message, even after I've posted it. So I'm going to type in something a little bit more polite. And when I'm finished, I can hit the little send button or hit enter, and it posts that updated message. But it's important that you also see, next to my name and the time, I can see the word edited. So that lets everybody else in this conversation know that this message was edited. They don't know what change I made, but they know that I made some change to this message since the original post. And of course, if I decide that I just want to delete this message entirely, I can point at the message, click on this button to open up the menu, and choose delete. When you do that, there is a line in the conversation that says this message has been deleted. And all of the other people on this channel can see that line. So they know a message was there, but it's been deleted. So if they think they remember seeing something in the past, but now they can't find it, they can see that that message was there. It's just been deleted. Now, since I'm the person who deleted it, I have a button for undo. So if I decide that I don't want that message to be deleted after all, I can hit undo and it comes back. So remember, when you send a message, it's not necessarily final. Editing and deleting messages can be pretty important. Just remember that your teammates will be able to see that something has been edited or deleted, even if they don't see the original message. Sometimes a message will be posted in a channel that is particularly important. You may need to call attention to it or even bookmark it so you can remember to view that information later. In another movie, we saw that you can point your mouse cursor at a message that's been posted, and you will see a few buttons appear over here on the far right. If it's a message that you posted, there are 3 buttons, but if it's a message that somebody else posted, you only see these 2. And these are the 2 buttons that I want to talk about in this movie. The thumbs up button is a like button, and if you've used Facebook, this is almost exactly the same as the like button there. All you need to do is click on it, and it marks that you've liked that message. So if one of my teammates posts an important message like this, I can like that message just by pointing at it, click on the little thumbs up button, and now that message has been liked. I can see the thumbs up will stay there, and it has a little number 1 next to it saying that one person has liked it. And this is pretty simple. You can think of this as a pat on the back to say that you're happy with a message that somebody posted, or you might think of it as identifying a message as particularly important. All of the other people in this channel will be able to see that somebody liked this message. And if multiple people liked it, then they'll see that number next to the like button will grow, and that may draw their attention to it. But bookmarks have a little bit more functionality to them. If there's a message that you think is very important to you, specifically, but you don't have the time to address that message right now, then you can bookmark it. So let's also bookmark this message. So I'm going to point at that message, and I see these 2 buttons are visible. This is the bookmark button. So all I need to do is click on that bookmark, and now it's been bookmarked. And I want you to look down here in the bottom left corner. Next to my account icon, there's a little flag that pops up that says saved. So I've got a few visual clues here. I see that saved flag, and the bookmark will stay lit up on this particular message. So now I can always come back to the conversation, and I can visually refer back to bookmarked messages in these threads. But sometimes after a conversation grows much larger, it's going to be a little harder to find those bookmarks just by scrolling through the messages here on this list. In those cases, you want to quickly refer to all of the bookmarks that you've saved in the past. So to do that, I'm going to go to my account icon in the very bottom left corner. Of course, I can click on that and it opens up a menu. And one of the items on this menu is saved. And if I click on that, then it will show me all of the messages that I've saved or all of the messages that I've bookmarked. So I can see the message that I just bookmarked as well as another message in a completely different channel that I bookmarked in the past. And I can go straight to them from here. I can just click on the one that I want to read and it takes me to that channel and shows me that bookmarked message. And of course, when you're finished looking at your bookmarked messages, then you can go to the buttons on the sidebar on the left and go back to wherever you want to go. So I can go back to my Teams category and I can go to the relevant channel that I want to look at and continue working from here. So you might consider using bookmarks and the like button to save messages or simply draw attention to important information.